Hi guys, I am Vignesh. Now we are going to model a simple drill bit by using of a different faces. Let's know how to draw it. Start by selecting of a top plane and create new sketch. Simple circular profile from the center point. Afterwards, I need to give the dimensions. What's the required dimensions for this area is just of 6 mm. In this picture, it is not clearly visible, but I tell you in detail one by one verbally. Okay, once I mention the dimensions of 6 mm, then form a solid body by using of an extrude boss in a perpendicular way. So select a midplane on the appropriate type and choose whatever the overall distance. The dimensions is 80 mm. So mention the height of 80 mm on its way. The solid body is created. It is almost look like a shaft. Only thing we need to convert it into a drill bit. Now select this face and create new sketch. Afterwards, use the convert entities to transfer this edge into a sketch. Once we transfer this into a sketch, now we can use this to form a helix curve. So just to exit the sketch now, go to curves, helix curve, choose this appropriate profile. Also, what is the type of it? Under constant pitch, select height and pitch category. The height is nothing but the overall thread formation's distance is 60 mm. Then what is the pitch of it? That is an in-between distance from one curve to another curve. Pitch is just to determine the thread formations as well as the distance from first to second area is 25 mm. That is the center to center distance of this crest and root portions. Once we determine the pitch is 25 mm, afterwards what is the angle of this initial portion is 0 degree. If you mention a 0 degree only, we can able to draw on rest of the profiles at the center of its area. Now determine the curve opposite to this portions to intersect with the solid body. Once we create a curve, now select these faces and create new sketch. Let's draw a simple vertical construction line from the center point. So select a center line. Start from its origin point up to its end point. Afterwards, choose this particular point as well as a curve by holding your control button, then use a pairs constraints to fix it within each other. Once we draw a line profile, now I am going to use a simple circle at the particular positions. Let's fix this by using our dimensional constraints. What is the dimensions of the circular dia? Is 2 mm. So mention 2 mm on these portions. Afterwards, position the profiles. So that is center to center, origin to the circular center point. It's nothing but 2.5 mm. So mention 2.5 mm. The profile is not completely drawn in these portions. Need to draw the rest of the profiles also. That's why pitch the circular edges and use the convert entities to make it into a current sketches. Afterwards, I am going to draw a line profile from the particular quadrant area. So use a line, select this quadrant up to its opposite portions. Then trim the rest of the entities to form a complete closed profiles. So use the trim entities and choose whatever the profiles we consider as a excess one. Select that kind of a regions also. We need to create a complete closed profiles on this area. Let's fix this endpoint from the origin. The horizontal dimension is 0.5 mm. If you take a look on this faces, it is clearly determines 0.5 mm. So mention 0.5 in this portions, then exit the sketch. Using the sketch profile as well as a path curve to make a pocket by using of swept cut. So select a swept cut on the command manager area and choose this profile category based on the selections. First one is a sketch profile, the second one is a path curve. Based on the two different kind of selections, I can able to create a pocket to form a three kind of a formations on this shaft body. Once we create a pocket, let's use a circular pattern. Instead of choosing a mirror, choose a circular patterns under features and faces. Select this particular pocket and instead of selecting a directions, I choose a temporary axis. Select temporary axis on the show button and choose this as a directions to form a pattern circularly. The overall degree is 360 degree and form a pattern two different instances on opposite portions. Once we create a pattern on this particular sections, now choose this front plane and create new sketch. Let's draw a normal line profile. So select line, start from its particular point and draw a complete closed profiles like a right angle triangle. Once we draw a profile, just to determine the angle of its area 45 degree. Then select this point as well as an origin point. And what is the vertical constraints for this area? The vertical constraints for this area is 0.5 mm. So mention 0.5 mm on this category. Now draw a vertical center line from the origin point to make a revolve cut by using of this reference. Simple vertical center line. By using of this, we can able to make a pocket easily. Just to use a revolve cut and select the center line to make a pocket. The bottom portion is exactly created like a drill bit formations. Only thing we need to done is to create a top key portion on this area. So select this faces and create new sketches. Draw one center point rectangle. What is the position of it? The pocket is almost looks similar like vertically. So I am going to draw a center point rectangle vertically. Once I draw a profile, next to use an horizontal constraints. What is the dimensions of it? It is 1 mm. Then the vertical dimensions is 10 mm. If you take a look on the top view for this particular drawings, it clearly determines 10 mm. Then exit the sketch now. Afterwards, create a solid body under the distance of 18 mm on the opposite directions. So mention 18 mm and choose whatever the directions to intersect with the previous solid body. So change the direction now. The solid body is almost created. Let's form a fillet to combine with each other. Now choose the fillet options. What is the fillet for this first two portions? That is a vertical line area is 1 mm radius. So mention 1 mm radius and choose all vertical lines. Fillet to one by one. First one, second one, third one, and fourth one. Once we create this fillet formations, then exit the sketch. Afterwards, form a fillet on 4 different corner portions under the radius of 2 mm. So select 4 different corner edges on this area. The fillet forms and we done the overall drill bit formations in these portions. If you just take a look on by an isometric view, it clearly indicates the completions of a overall model. Look at the drill bit portions under isometric view also. Also the sharp corners, how we created by using often patterns and change the appearance to move exactly looks more precisely. Thank you.